The following is a presentation of the Match Talk Podcast Network. It's time for Inside Virginia Tech Wrestling. We'll talk all things Hokie wrestling with Coach Kevin Dresser and his staff. Now, let's join your host, three-time National Wrestling Writer and Broadcaster of the Year, Jason Bryant.
Another episode of Inside Virginia Tech Wrestling. Interesting concept we've got here today, Coach Dresser. I'm sitting in the Hampton Coliseum. You are sitting on a bus on I-64 heading to the Hampton Coliseum. We're ready to preview the Virginia Duels, recap wins over Princeton and North Carolina, and finally get to those the little Easter eggs that you've been dangling in front of Hokie Nation for the last couple of weeks. First of all, how is the trip from Blacksburg right now? By the time people hear this, your trip's going to be done, but how's the trip been so far?
Good. We pulled out about 12:15, and I think our ETA is about 4:45. So it's been a smooth ride so far. We're past Richmond, so knock on wood. I'm sure we'll run into the usual pre-tunnel traffic around Williamsburg, but we're ready for that.
So as we preview the 37th Virginia Duels, we'll come back to that in a moment, but just to introduce it, Virginia Tech ranked 5th in the country in the most recent USA Today NWCA Division I coaches poll. They are the top seed in the tournament, will be in the Hampton River pool with Kent State and Lock Haven. The winners of the four pools will come out into a gold bracket, which is reseeded based on a couple things, maximizing matchups, because this is not for a national championship, but it is for a championship. So if Virginia comes out of their pool and Virginia Tech comes out of their pool unscathed, they will be on opposite sides of the bracket. So Hokie fans can anticipate that. Depending on who the other two teams are, we don't know what the semifinal draws would be, but that's how it works. So, Coach, coming into the duels, you had two good dual meet wins. Princeton, a rapidly improving team, and then a good win over an ACC rival, Carolina. Let's just recap the performance from both of those duels. How do you think your Hokies performed there?
I thought we did well. I thought, we've obviously had some backup guys in there, but the guys that started for us and then are the guys in our lineup right now did a good job. I think Jared Howard had a pretty big win, and Zach Eppley had a couple of pretty big wins. And when I say pretty big wins, is when you're beating top 10 and top 15 ranked guys in the nation. So, overall it was good. I mean, Ty Walls is dynamic and really fun to watch. Zach Zavatsky completely dominated the weekend. Obviously, Zach Eppley got named ACC Wrestler of the Week for his wins. We had a one win out of Brigida, I think one win out of Latana. Joey got a couple major decisions for us. Solomon is progressing a little bit better the second one than the first one. Struggled a little bit at 57 against Princeton, but did better against North Carolina, and I think we split at 65 too. So all in all, it was progress.
One of the progression points you talked about last year, Zach Epperly, had some issues with Ethan Ramos, but that's a big win there. Ramos is an All-American 2 years ago. He's ranked 7th in the country. 8-2. For those who just see the score, explain what type of 8-2 win was that?
I thought it was a controlling 8-2. We caught him on his back for 2 back points, and obviously that makes a difference for separating yourself a little bit. But he gave up 2 escapes, and he got 2 takedowns, a reversal, or 3 takedowns in the back point. So, it's progress. And Zach Epperly's a lot different guy than he was last year at this time. He struggled with, some motivation. And probably that maybe lack of motivation came from he just really wasn't ready to step out there, I don't think, last year with that big target on his back. The cool part is when you're All-American as a freshman, but the not so cool part, or maybe the part you don't, some kids don't realize is now when you come back, you're a lot different guy stepping out there, and everybody wants a piece of you. And he probably wasn't ready for that, and had some weight issues. And so he's just a lot more mature and a lot more stable and having a lot more fun right now, and it's showing.
Now, as we move into the Virginia Duels, you had talked about A few surprises that were coming, and one, the cat's out of the bag. Dennis Gustafson back down to 133, and Mr. Nordstrom back with the program at 141 pounds. Both had solid performances up in Lancaster, and with this show, you're very open with the information. You're probably the prototype, or the barometer when it comes to how well a coach should use a coach's show in wrestling. But, keeping these things under the vest and then finally dropping the Nordstrom bomb, coming out looking good. So, thoughts on Nordstrom's performance, and then now Gus down at 33.
Well, that was a big move for us. And I felt like Dennis was, went to him right before the Christmas break. And I felt like he was a guy that was between weights. And I told him that I felt like he could make 133, and I felt like he could make a really good run at 133 and contend. And when I mean contend, I mean contend for the top. And when he, last year he was really forced into the lineup. He had no choice. He'd already had a redshirt year. He was coming off of an ACL. We threw him out there 6 months after his ACL surgery. He just wasn't, himself. He wasn't the Dennis Gustafson that we saw, because he just wasn't physically ready to go. But obviously, just if anybody saw him wrestle at Franklin and Marshall this past Saturday, the whole fact that he made weight for the first time and had to wrestle 5 matches in about 6 or 6.5 hours or 7 hours, I guess, is pretty impressive. He had a really good day, considering that's a tough thing to do the first time down. And then at 141, Kevin Nordstrom's been hanging around our program and working out in our club, and we sensed that fire was back that he didn't have the year before, and we sensed the fire was back. And so we approached him, after the Thanksgiving break, between the Thanksgiving and the Christmas break, and he was excited. And, he didn't want to knock anybody out of the lineup, but obviously, with Dennis going down, 41 was wide open, and it's a good weight for him. He grew into 41 in the last year. And so, again, for him to come up, especially for him, when you haven't competed for 13 months, to not only make weight and he beat some pretty good guys. He beat a lot of starters. It was a great start. And here's the thing with both of them. I don't think even this weekend we're going to see the best yet. I think the best is going to come each and every week, because, Dennis is getting in the groove for 133, and Nordstrom just got to get in the groove to compete. And so, I think we're going to see more and more and more out of Kevin Nordstrom each week.
Yeah, one of those wins was against a guy named Ronnie Perry, who had a pretty good redshirt year last year and has some good wins in his career. And you're going to have a chance to see him again in the pool competition as Lockhaven sitting there. And let's just talk about the Virginia Duels a little bit. Lockhaven and Kent State, question on who the better team is there, but both have really, really good traditions. You know a lot about Scott Moore in his time as on the mats at Penn State and the University of Virginia. And Jim Anderson's squad, always prepared. They don't forfeit any weights. They got just solid guys up and down the lineup, really good dual team. Coming out of the pool, Lockhaven and Kent State, what are your thoughts going in?
Well, you said it. Those guys understand college wrestling, and so they're going to put the best guys they've got available out there, and they're going to try to win. And yeah, we're favored on paper, and but we don't wrestle on paper, so we have to go take it to them, and then we'll worry about Saturday, and we just need to be ready to go at 11, and we need to be ready to go, and then quick turnaround. I like the format of the Virginia Duels because you get multiple matches in a day like you do at the NCAA tournament. You've got to make weight multiple days just like you do at the NCAA tournament, and it's just a really well-run event. And so we're excited to wrestle those guys. We're favored, and we need to go show everybody why we're favored.
Yeah, and of course, this is the third year of the modified pool format because of the way the scheduling works. A lot of the Big Ten teams can't come, and we've scheduled to the point where we're getting 12 Division I teams in the 4 pools. You're going to get, if you're winning your pool, you're going to get 2 and 2, as you said, but you could see 3 on the first day if you don't win in those other pools. And the modified format still gives the advancement placement, and you still get your fans to come in knowing that each win is going to move you closer to that championship. When it comes to those semifinals on Saturday, and you've got a good portion of Hokies inside the Hampton Coliseum, is that something that you feel as a coach that you've learned that, man, this is really like a team-building atmosphere because you've got a championship on the line, you've got your fans in a comfortable facility, but a lot of them, they're still learning how to be a team.
Yeah, it's just a very well set up. I'd say it's one of the best fan-friendly events out there because you know exactly what time you wrestle. You know that if you come at 11, we'll be done by 12:30. become a 1. We'll be done by 2:30 or close to it tomorrow. And Saturday at 2, you're out of there by 3:30, 4 o'clock, and then you can come back and go eat dinner and come back and watch the finals. So it's just a really well-run event, and it is fan-friendly. And, we kind of do think we have a little bit, I think it's a little bit of a home field advantage for us, even though we're 5 hours away. 757 area has always been big Hokie country, big Hokie fan country. So, we've got a social, and we'll have a bunch of people out Friday afternoon after our second match. So this is a good chance for us to get around a lot of our fans out in this area.
So speaking of the social, the times for the Tech matches are 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. on Friday. Now, if by some stretch of the imagination you guys don't win, that could put a little bit of crimp on that, because that means you come back around at 3 o'clock. But I've got a pretty good, I'd say it's a safe bet. You win the first 2, then you're done for the Friday. Talk a little bit about the social, where it's going to be, barring an upset of epic proportions.
Well, right, we got to take care of business first, and then we'll worry about a social. And right, if something goes wrong there, that social is going to be a pretty small social. But no, so at the Embassy Suites is the host hotel, and that's where our team stays. Embassy Suites, which is really kind of right on the property of the Hampton Coliseum. And so 3:30 to 6:30, I think they've got. We'll have some of our coaching staff there, a chance to meet Coach Zadek, Coach St. John, and Coach Roby, and there's a chance to meet. Some of our guys will be there. We actually bring our whole team to this, all 30 guys in our roster. So our young guys, our red shirts, will be working out Saturday morning in the warm-up area, and it's just a chance for us to kind of reward those guys for all the training they put in and over the holiday. And so it's a good event for us.
So as this kicks off the second semester, and we've talked about the lineup shifts, where do you feel the team is this year compared to last year? Last year, of course, you're dealing with injuries, but from a mindset standpoint, is this team more prepared for this event this year than they were last year?
Yeah, we weren't as healthy last year coming into this. We're pretty healthy right now coming into this event here. Our lineup's pretty set, and we're pretty healthy. And it appears that this is the team that we're going to take going forward. And so, yeah, I think so. I mean, we need to keep developing these 10 guys. And so we didn't have that last year. We obviously had Brissette out, and I think we had somebody else out. So we had 2 or 3 guys. Gable was out. And so we had some guys out last year at this time. And we were kind of limping through the middle part of the season. And obviously we got good at the end. And so that's the goal again, is to get good at the end.
So Saturday night, 8:30 is the final round of wrestling here at the 37th Virginia Duels. A lot of people expect Hokie Nation to be there, but looking at the way things draw out, there's a possibility of seeing Oklahoma, there's a possibility of seeing Arizona State, and a lot of people are circling that possibility of Arizona State with a potential Epperly-Zahid Valencia matchup at 174. As a wrestling fan, that's the type of matchup that you just got to put your hands together and go, oh, goody.
Absolutely. Yep. I can't wait. I might have popcorn there myself. And as a coach, you got to be a fan too. And I know the thing is I know Zach Epperly's excited about that opportunity for that match to happen. And I'm sure Valencia is too. So, when you get 2 stallions like that and the opportunity is there, that's, the crowd's going to be buzzing. The whole United States will be following it somehow or another, whether they're on social media or watching it on track or whatever, however they're going to watch it. But that's cool when you get matchups like that. And so we'll see if we progress. They progress. That could be a good one.
And speaking of that, Hokie Nation, if you can't make the trip to Hampton, this is being streamed live on Track Wrestling with their TrackCast feature. Has a pay-per-view option, $15. So $14.99 is the price point. But here's the key. You get to watch every single match of the tournament, high school and college. And the cool thing is you can go back and have access to the archive video forever. So it's not like you just watch it one and done. You can go back and watch that potential Zahid Valencia, Zach Epperly match again and again and again and again for just one price. So that's something to keep an eye out, and that's on the Virginia Duels website at virginiaduels.org and trackwrestling.com. So those of you who are unable to check it out, basically, it's a pretty affordable a la carte option, and again, you get to watch the video for as long as you purchase it for. So that's a little bit of the PSA here from the wrestling club standpoint, because this is my home turf. This is my wrestling club that runs this thing. So gotta put some money in their coffers too here, Coach.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the track price is a great price considering how much it would cost you to get in your car and drive here and pay admission. the convenience of having it right there at your home. I'm sure a lot of people will jump on track and take advantage of that.
Potential matchups, winning the pool over Kent State Lock Haven. Again, we talked about the potential matchup at Arizona State. Also, there's Lou Roselli now at Oklahoma. And what's interesting is both of those teams coached by past representatives of the United States in the Olympics. So they're well coached. And what's that do for you to know that these teams are going to be well prepared and well coached going into these potential matchups?
Programs like Oklahoma have so much tradition, and obviously Lou Roselli is a great coach, and Arizona State with Zeke, and anybody that's still around winning on Saturday, you got to be ready for it. And I'm sure everybody's ranked in the top 20 as teams at that point. So we're looking forward to whoever we get. We don't care who we get. Whether we might end up with Virginia. If we end up with Virginia, we end up with Virginia. So we got to get there, and if we get there, then we don't care who they actually get.
All right, Hokie Nation, that's going to wrap it up from the in-transit version of Inside Virginia Tech Wrestling. So from inside the Hampton Coliseum here in Hampton, Virginia, I'm Jason Bryant. Coach Dresser and the Hokies are on 64. They're almost here. They're going to be hitting the warm-up mats by the time we post this. But remember, Hokie Nation Wrestling Friday, 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Then social thereafter at the Embassy Suites, basically on the grounds of the Hampton Coliseum. Check it out and be sure to tell your friends if they can't make it here. TrackWrestling.com. Watch the Hokies live on TrackCast. So, Coach Dresser, we'll see you in a bit, and Hokie Nation, we'll see you here in Hampton very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope we can get a lot of Hokies out, especially Saturday. I know Friday's a work day, but hopefully by the time Saturday at 2 p.m. rolls around, we got a packed house. We need a lot of screaming and yelling.
This show is part of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, head over to MattTalkOnline.com.